how do you even start to build a nation? I mean, what's the instruction manual, the core blueprint for a country of over 275 million people spread across, what, 17,000 islands? Well, every nation has one, and today we're going to explore the blueprint for Indonesia. So here it is, the 1945 Constitution of the Republic of Indonesia. And look, this is way more than just some dry legal document. You've got to think of it as the foundational promise of the world's fourth most populous country, forged right in the heat of the fight for independence. So how is this promise actually structured? Let's take a look. We're going to take a guided tour through this incredible document, breaking it down into 5 key areas. We'll start with its core promise, then look at how laws are made, the power of the president, who guards the law, and finally, what it all guarantees for you. Okay, first up, let's talk about the soul of the Constitution. Because before you can really get into the rules of the government, you have to understand why it even exists in the first place. The whole thing kicks off with this incredibly powerful, universal declaration. It sets the stage immediately. This isn't just about Indonesia's freedom, it's a statement that freedom is a fundamental right for all people everywhere. A pretty bold way to start. And flowing from that powerful idea of freedom, the preamble lays out these 5 principles known as Pancasila. You can think of this as the philosophical DNA of the Indonesian state. It's this blend of spirituality, humanism, national unity, democracy, and social justice that really guides everything else that follows. So, you've got this philosophical foundation in place. But how do you translate that into an actual system of government? Well, that brings us to Section 2, the legislative branch. This is where the will of the people is supposed to be turned into law. Now, what's really interesting here is that it's not just one single parliament. The whole system is designed with a few different parts to make sure there's a good balance between the interests of the nation as a whole and the unique interests of all its different regions. Okay, let's break this down a bit. You've basically got 3 key groups. First, there's the DPR. Think of it as the main lawmaking house, where members are elected through political parties. Then you have the DPD, which is all about representing the provinces. Its members are elected as individuals to focus on those regional issues. And then there's the MPR. This is like a joint session of both the DPR and DPD, and it has the biggest powers of all. It can amend the Constitution and even dismiss a president. And speaking of the president, that takes us right into our 3rd section, the executive branch. At the heart of it is one of the most powerful, directly elected jobs in the entire world, the president of Indonesia. And getting that job is no easy task. The rules are actually pretty fascinating. A president is elected directly, along with their vice president. But here's the catch. They not only have to win more than half the total vote, they also have to win at least 20% of the vote in more than half of all the provinces. This is just a brilliant way to make sure a president represents the entire nation, not just the most populated areas. And to make sure all that power doesn't go to someone's head, the Constitution has a crucial check built right in. A president can serve for 5 years, but they can only be re-elected once. 2 terms, that's it. So while a president is extremely powerful, they are absolutely not above the law. The Constitution lays out this very clear, deliberate process for removal. It starts with the DPR, gets reviewed by the Constitutional Court, and then the final decision is made by that superbody, the MPR. It's a fantastic example of checks and balances in action. Okay, so you have all these laws and all this presidential power. Who's the referee? Who makes sure everyone's playing by the rules? That brings us to our 4th section, the guardians of justice, the judicial branch. And the Constitution is crystal clear on this point. It establishes an independent judicial power. Its job is to enforce the law and make sure justice is served without being pushed around by the politicians in the legislature or by the president. And here's where things get really clever. Indonesia actually splits its top judicial powers into 2. You've got the Supreme Court, which is the final court of appeal for most regular cases, but then you have the Constitutional Court, and this one has a huge, unique power. It decides whether the laws passed by the government are even compatible with the Constitution itself. It is the ultimate guardian of the blueprint. All right, we've come to our 5th and, you could argue, most important section. Because a constitution isn't just about how the government machine works, it's a promise from the state to its people. So what does it guarantee you? While there's a whole chapter dedicated to this, and the list of human rights is extensive. We're talking about everything from the fundamental right to live and have a family to more modern rights like the freedom to communicate, get information, and get an education. It's all in there. But the Constitution goes one step further, and this part is absolutely critical. It declares that some rights are inalienable. That means they cannot be limited or taken away for any reason, not even during a war or a state of emergency. These are the absolute non-negotiable foundations of human dignity. So there you have it. The Indonesian Constitution is this fascinating balancing act. It creates a powerful government, which you kind of need to unite a vast country like this. But at the same time, it writes down a deep commitment to democracy, regional voices, and fundamental human rights. And that's the enduring challenge for any country, isn't it? It's a blueprint that was written in 1945 but has been updated for a modern world. So the big question is, how does this document continue to guide a nation through the incredibly complex challenges of the 21st century?